Hello, everybody, and today I'm reviewing a Christmas movie. I'm reviewing Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. So last year I reviewed the first Home Alone movie, and so I'm reviewing the second one. I really don't plan on reviewing the other Home Alone movies. I don't know, I don't want to sound like a gatekeeper. It's just, I don't know, I just prefer Home Alone 1 and 2, and that's it for me. So this movie's kind of the same. It even kind of makes fun of it, how they're kind of following the Home Alone formula, where Kevin gets into a fight with his parents, family, and then they get separated, and then Kevin's on his own, and then he encounters the Wet Bandits. But for this movie, this time he's in New York City. So what happens is, it goes as usual. Kevin's with his family. They go to church or something, and then they do like this choir singing, like all the kids do. But then Kevin's brother, Buzz, is of course trying to mess with Kevin per usual. And Kevin actually ends up punching Buzz, which was surprising. And then, this is kind of, I feel like I want to discuss this, but like, once Kevin gets home, his parents, and family are kind of, I don't know, they're kind of guilting him to apologize. Like, Buzz makes some, like, speech about how he's sorry, but he's really doing it just so he won't get on their parents' bad side, and because once his speech is over, he whispers to Kevin, he's like, you get it, you little, and he calls him something, and Kevin's just, like, not having it, and he's just like, I'm not sorry for what I said, and, he kind of just storms off, and then his mom just keeps him in his room, and he's just like, it just leads to an argument, and Kevin tries to convince his mom that, like, Buzz is not actually sorry, he's just sucking it up to her, and he's so right, and, I did like the line where he tells Uncle Frank, where Uncle Frank's like, your dad's paying good money for this, and then Kevin's like, I wouldn't want to spoil your fun, Mr. Cheapskate. It's a nice roast, like, nice comeback. And then, like, once Kevin argues with his mom, he's just like, I wish I could go on my own vacation alone. And then Kevin's mom's like, I hope you get your wish. And then literally what happens next is just like the first one. They're almost late to the airport. They're all going crazy, getting all their stuff ready to leave. And this time, they finally have Kevin in the car. And they rush to the airport. But what happens is, Kevin ends up trying to get batteries for this voice repeater recording thing. Yeah, he was using it earlier when he was looking at Uncle Frank showering. It was funny. And he tries to get batteries out of his dad's bag, but he ends up grabbing his dad's bag, and while he's putting in the batteries, he ends up spotting someone who he thinks is his dad, but it's actually just someone who's dressed just like him. And then he gets onto the wrong airport after getting his ticket, lost with a bunch of others after running into a lady, and Kevin ends up in New York. He doesn't really suspect a thing. His parents don't suspect a thing until they land, and then they realize Kevin's not there, and I do like the scene where they're passing Kevin's bag to each family member. Buzz even skips it. And the one kid, I don't know his name. He's the one who likes to drink soda or something and pees on the bed or something. He ends up saying, here you go, Kevin. And then he sees like an older couple or something, and then they say Kevin's not here, and then once they get to the mom and dad, he's just like, what? And then the mom screams Kevin, and then Kevin's in New York now, and this definitely feels like New York. Like, you can see all the buildings, you can see all the people, and you can just tell how busy it is on Christmas. And I don't know if I should be saying this, but like, Kevin also goes on to the Twin Towers, and this is kind of creepy to watch now since we know what happens years later with 9/11. It's very odd. And what Kevin does is he tries to book a hotel, and this could be also another weird reference. He bumps into what apparently Donald Trump. He makes a cameo. Yeah, our former president. I'm not going to talk about politics because it's stupid. But yeah, it's so odd. Donald Trump made a cameo in this movie, and my sister didn't even believe he was in this movie. It was just like a quick, random cameo. I guess Donald Trump has time to go into an expensive hotel for whatever reason. It's because Kevin asks where the rooms are, room service is, and that's where he meets the ushers there. That's where we get legendary actor Tim Curry. Tim Curry is one of my favorite actors. Like, he is great. He was like great in the 90s. It was very unfortunate he had that stroke. But anyway, he was like great in like Clue, and he's really good in this movie too. Like, he plays like, I'm guessing the hotel manager or something. And surprisingly, he's letting Kevin rent a room, like an expensive room. And how Kevin gets there is because he uses a credit card and uses the voice thing to disguise it, make it seem like it's his dad's voice. And yeah, Kevin commits credit card fraud, and that's where the hotel people are starting to get suspicious about Kevin. Yeah, it's crazy. And Kevin does a bunch of other things. He hangs out in a pool. He goes to a toy store. He gets pizza. He gets his own limo. He does get this very nice scene where Kevin meets like the toy store owner. He's like an older gentleman. I forget his name. My bad. And he teaches him like he gives him like these 2 turtle doves, like in the 12 days of Christmas. He gives Kevin these birds, and he says ornaments. He's like says like, if you give it to another friend, then that friendship will last forever. So yeah, that's a good like theme in this movie. Like, Home Alone explores good themes of like family, friendship. Even if you don't get along with your family, you can always still love them, and with your friends as well. And meanwhile, we see the return of the Wet Bandits. Yeah, they've apparently shipped themselves to New York and like fish food or something. And so far, they're kind of just exploring New York. And they're trying to come up with their new heist. And instead, they're going to try to maybe rob a toy store. But it isn't until they see Kevin. And they recognize him because of his backpack and I guess his hat. And once Kevin sees the Wet Bandits, he freaks out and screams. Yeah, that's what gets them away. And there's this big, cool chase scene where they're trying to get him. And what happens next is Kevin actually goes back to the hotel. And I think the hotel employees are like, you are using a stolen credit card. We also got that scene where Tim Curry finds out it's a credit card's stolen. And he makes this like creepy smile with the light bulb over his head. That was funny. And so what happens next is it's a big chase scene between the hotel people and Kevin. And I think Kevin goes up to his room and he uses just like the first one, he uses that gangster movie where the guy Snakes, where he like I don't know, he talks smoochy or something. And he's talking to and the hotel people are about to reach Kevin until they meet that guy, and they don't. And I don't know if it'd say they're dumb, but like they can't figure out that's just a TV, and they're pretending to have a conversation with that guy, and then he's like, "Get on your knees and tell me you love me," and then Tim Curry's like, "Oh, I love you," and then what happens next is like he shows like the gun, and then he's like shooting it, but it's not actually shooting, it's just a TV. And I like how all the hotel guests are like, what is going on? And then the hotel people are like, there's a crazy guest with a gun, and there's no cop. It's weird how I don't know if this is a nitpick, but like, why didn't the cops come after they think there's some crazy guy in their hotel rooms? But he did try to use Kevin did try to use like that the voice changer to think someone was in the shower, and to make the hotel people think Kevin's dad was in the hotel room. It was something. But Kevin escapes the hotel, and he ends up getting grabbed by the wet bandits, and they try to take him away. They're walking around New York for a bit. They try to rip up his passport after they find out that he went on the wrong plane. And Marv, he does something stupid. He tells Kevin his plan. He thinks Kevin's dumb, but he's not. He's just, and Harry and Marv are kind of stupid. And what happens next is that Kevin tries to get out from the two's raft, and what he does next is he inappropriately touches a woman, and she thinks Marv did it, and he does that funny face where he's like, well, hello, and then she slaps the two, and then Kevin runs away. In the next few moments, Kevin's kind of just exploring New York. He's seeing the underworld of it. But what happens next is he runs into what looks like a pigeon lady. We don't know her name, but she's like the Marley from the first one, where everyone thinks like he's this crazy old man, but he's really just a nice man, quiet, gentle man. But the pigeon lady, Kevin thinks she's crazy, like a bat or something, but she's revealed to be very kind. And that's where we get this. This is probably my favorite scene in the movie, where Kevin and the pigeon lady have a conversation about family and stuff. Where the pigeon lady kind of reveals stuff about herself. She revealed that she was married, she had a job, but her husband left her, which kind of just crumpled her life a little, and she feels she's too afraid to get her heart broken again. And Kevin thought maybe that's a little dumb to worry about, but she kind of teaches him that like people can still experience heartbroken and be afraid to deal with stuff, I guess. And then the conversation kind of ends, and then Kevin basically is now going to plan out his traps. And I haven't got back to the family in a bit. Just like the last movie, the McAllisters go to New York, and it's kind of just Kevin's mom looking for him. And I think I just love how she criticizes the hotel people once they find out Kevin's been using the credit card there. And what happens next in the movie is like Kevin is now planning his traps, because he now knows the wet bandits are going to rob the toy store, and so he's now going to have the final showdown with them. So, the wet bandits, they go through a lot of brutal stuff. It feels more brutal in this movie. Like, the last one, like, the traps, they were good, but, like, this one, you could actually see the traps. Like, they actually feel brutal. Like, you could actually be killed by them if you get my point. But, what Kevin does, he drops, this wheel thing on them. He drops like a giant pipe on them. Like he causes Marv to fall off what he thinks is like a floor he can walk up to, but then he's revealed that the floor is not actually there, and he falls into a hole, and he gets hit by a flower. He also gets electrocuted to death, and I think Harry gets hit by a few bricks. I think he falls onto a car. He almost gets burned. I think he does, actually. Like, he loses his hair on his hat. He gets his face smashed. Like, ooh, it's very brutal stuff. And I do like the scene where Harry and Marv think, like, oh, we did this last year, where they think Kevin's going to throw a few paintballs at him, and they pretend to go up the stairs, but Kevin actually that's where Kevin throws the pipe. It's funny. Yeah. So, whatever you do, kids, if you're defending yourself, defend how much you can for your own life, I guess. But, what Kevin does is what makes him lose the battle after Harry and Marv are basically covered with a bunch of stuff. Kevin slips on black ice, and the wet bands are like, you lost the war. But then looks like Harry's about to shoot Kevin. I thought that was a little dark. It was like, oh, he's going to go that far and try to shoot Kevin? Like, ooh. But he's saved, just like the first one. Kevin is saved by someone. He's saved by the pigeon lady. What the pigeon lady does is she throws a bunch of bird seed all over the two. And because they're covered in goo, Harry couldn't exactly shoot the pigeon lady, but then the birds all come together and attack Harry and Marv, and Kevin shoots fireworks, and then the cops come, and then Kevin basically saved the day, and he even gives like the toy store owners a note that he's sorry he broke his window. I forgot to mention that Kevin did that to like create a diversion for the two, and he also got the evidence that they were breaking into the store, and then the Wet Bandits are arrested, and they're bummed that they felt they just got out of prison, but then they're going back. So they should probably learn that they're criminals. They'll get some serious karma. And what Kevin does, he basically is standing by a Christmas tree, and it's just like he just wishes to have his family back. That's all he wants, even Buzz, and he gets that wish. Kevin's mom finally finds him, and then the two reunite, and then they go to that hotel, and then they wake up to a bunch of Christmas presents. And I do like the scene where one of the hotel mates tries to get a tip. He did try to get a tip from Kevin earlier in the movie, but he just gives him gum. And I see Buzz, he has the same traits. He gives the hotel guy a gum as well, and he gets the hotel bill, which is revealed to be $900,000 of room service. So $900 actually. But that pisses off Mr. McAllister, and it ends just like the first one, where Buzz yells at Kevin, and then Kevin's dad yells at Kevin in this one. And I think Kevin even gives the turtle doves to the pigeon lady, and that's the end of Home Alone 2. A very great movie. I honestly prefer it just a little bit more than the first one, but I like these two equally. I give Home Alone 2 like a 9 out of 10. Maybe that's a little generous of me, but I love this movie. A lot of fun. I love how they changed the stakes a little, but so what? It follows the formula of Home Alone, and so I don't know what the next Christmas movie I might review. I didn't have any big plans for Christmas reviews, but I hope you enjoyed this review. Anyway, thanks for watching, and see you guys.